Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of you, and peace out to the rest of you again. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Shout out to J Lion Menelik for sending me this. I'm not going to be as sharp as I normally would because of time constraints, but Mahogany Pink put out a video and she entitled it "The False Promise of Black Love Part 1." And she goes to say that there's really no black love anymore and Kevin Samuels is wrong. And I would agree in that regard. I believe it's been ruined. I don't see a way that it can be restored if you're talking about the Black West, mostly the Anglophone West. Now, black love, I do see a hope for, as long as it is not, as long as black love is not black Western love, black American love. That's gone. It's done with. I don't see it happening. I wish I did, but there's always some kind of sacrifice that others don't necessarily have to make. And really, truth be told, sisters are saying they got to sacrifice. No, the sacrifice they got to make are the same ones non-white women around the world have to make, and non-first world women have to make. Sacrifices that brothers have to make are the ones that are not really normal. And everybody knows this. I know this from living abroad. And the thing is, I'm going to get on Ryan Davis for getting on. Really, he didn't get on Kevin Samuels. He got on the dude to support him more than anything. But I disagree with Mr. Samuels on that. See, Mahogany Pink goes straight to showing the one time a black man choked a black woman on a reality TV show, many of which are scripted and not completely reality anyway. And one of the few times on Maury Povich in which he says to a black male guest, "Junebug, you are the father." She completely ignores the fact that for all men in the U.S., period, 33% of doubts about paternity are well-founded and proven true when they're sent for testing. Now, it's not 33% of all children and all supposed or thinking that they're the fathers not really being that, but when they're sent in for paternity test in the lab, the doubts turn out to be true. Now, that means there's a whole 60% of the time that no, it's right. He was the dad. 33 is still too much. And the thing is that ruins the reputations even of the other 66% of women that tell the truth about paternity. Anyway, many women nowadays are telling men, this is something we've known, but now they're telling men that they want to have one man's baby and have another man raise the child. And Mahogany Pink overlooks this, and that this is really rife in the West in general, white and black communities. See, they can't decide on one man to breed and feed the kids, and they only find happiness when one man does the breeding and another man does the feeding without getting any chance at even thinking he might be the father who bred those whom he fed. That's when they're happy. They're happy when the one doing the feeding knows he did none of the breeding, but he feels he owes it to someone else's babies just because he had to start his life out as a baby like everyone else. Those are the kind of men that are necessary ingredients to women's happiness in the long run. Mahogany Pink goes on to state how Kevin Samuels sounded like every other man on the planet when he said that beauty is actually quite objective and that black women are in fact quite the opposite of that. Granted, I would not have said the same thing he did, because black women, even if you subtract the MLS women and say they're related but a separate category, sisters are so diverse that they can't collectively go against something that has both objective and subjective components, some of which actually are in fact influenced by racist media, which I say. Still, I've witnessed myself that men around the world do prefer black women the least, and we naturally will defend black women from the presupposition that their race and color are enough to make them last. But then again, when the ratchet boom shikas take center stage, we can only defend black women who are neither boom shikas nor their sympathizers from what others would say based on TV. So when an Egyptian says some of this dumb stuff, I'll jump down his throat. Why would you marry a black woman? You could just sleep with her. I'll jump down his throat and say, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it to one of your women with all that extra body hair. Why the hell would I marry one of yours when they'll sit up and tell their son, get out there and beat up the world for family honor and stuff like that? Because what he's saying is actually racist, even with no hatred towards us, it's racist. But when people start saying, look at how they acting on TV, well, you know what? Shuck that fit. That's right. Because I know how they act on TV. They believe when they see it and then turn around and act like that in real life and become easier to film, and then therefore the cycle continues. They make it to TV. Now, Mahogany Pink also says that men who are qualified to marry will use that as leverage to just go through as many vaginas as possible. Yeah, well, what did you expect? See, she ignores the fact that frankly women don't want men that are too ready to marry and don't want a man with too low a body count. So a man who is marriageable knows instinctively or consciously, he knows he better get some experience to keep whoever he marries. And it shouldn't be that way. And I'm telling you, men, you should not go along with this sort of thing, but don't let them say a father-mucking thing about it. She ignores the fact that the Western women in general, especially the sisters, are looking for a man with a high body count to just simply fall in love with her when she wants him to, so that she can marry a man that has a lot of experience and then not have to communicate her needs to him. Man, shuck that fit. Western women, black and white, know they aren't worth marrying in most cases, and therefore they doubt men who are ready to marry them. Why should these men who are eligible for marriage turn around and be so ready? Women who have the beauty that it takes to keep a man refuse to have the attitude that it takes to keep them. Now, nobody made that mutually exclusive except the women themselves. Mahogany Pink doesn't point out that black women outnumber men for reasons within black women's control. Merlin Santana, anybody? Abortions, anybody? Most Western women, period, white or not, will have to work in the modern economy. Black women are less likely to be abused without retaliating in exchange for that abuse. Black women don't trip when actually, I take that back. Black women don't trip when black women find a non-black man. But black women trip when a black woman finds a light-skinned black man. Black men don't trip when black women find a non-black man, even one of the Wyatts. Black men are insulted only when we are held to higher standards than men of other races, like how Doja Cat did, and the opposite of what Jeannie Mai did. That women in general get to control sexual access because many men think we can't control it, and few men are taught to be chaste in many cultures. And this means that yes, we have every right to look at women's results and ask how she chose, when most of us men can't just sit back and choose a lady and then wind up with a lady whom we chose like that, even when they like us, because of the social pressures they fall under from each other, not even from us. She outright lies, ignores the majority of black men that sisters don't want, and then confesses that most black women are in fact single mothers by saying that black men's war on the single mother, which is really just not choosing them like most Western women don't choose normal men, is some sort of rejection of our own mothers. We didn't say that most of us were raised by single moms. She just said it. She equated single motherhood with black womanhood. Fit the guck out my face with that sure bit. Divesters can divest or not. However, until the day the teenage males start off our teens with the same sexual and non-sexual options in females, not in males, as female teens start off with options in males, we men have more right to go where we're appreciated above and below the belt. We're not the same as the women, and yet we respect sisters' choices more than they respect ours. We respect their choices more than they respect our lack of choice. This is why I'm going in on her like this. What's really irritating other men and me about the outspoken divesters is the hypocrisy of it all. An outright Wyatt guy can have painted fingernails and rings in weird places, but a light-skinned brother, or a brother with prescription glasses, or a brother who reads at his age or grade level, or a brother who just doesn't fit negative stereotypes, or a brother who's just below 5'8", isn't black enough to be selected to the same sisters. We know that. I refer you all to LAR Movement, for whom he knows, that told him right off the bat, white dude could have painted fingernails, but a brother's gotta be super macho. The ratchet selection process is even spreading to South Africa while we speak, and from the cities, it then is in line to spill over next into rural areas where the sisters were previously appreciative of good men who appreciated them in exchange. Mahogany Pink also intentionally left out something very important about sisters who divest. They insist on not other men of color, or even black men who aren't Western, unless those men are abnormally successful. See, it's funny because if you are a non-black man, but you're not a white dude. Or you're a non-black man, but you're not Western, i.e. you're from the continent, maybe even from the Caribbean. You have a chance if you're more successful than the average Wyatt dude. But no, they insist on Wyatts and even don't demand the same from them they demand and expect from us Shines. By the way, when I call us Shines, it's a compliment. Divesters might not mind if another woman, another divester, gets another man of color, but they go straight, most cases, to the Wyatts. Then they say that we black men use Wyatt supremacy as an excuse for what we don't have. Well, that's actually a valid excuse when we choose to use it, and we still haven't given up. You can make an excuse for something and you still don't quit, and that's exactly what we've done, because when we acquire that which they try to lock us out of, we still say, well, we had to face it. We still had to go against it. And then we continue to acquire to the point that 62% of us are in the middle class. Why aren't you going for more Arab men then? They consider themselves Wyatts. It's because you know that they don't tolerate that sister girl disrespect. They don't value you as beautiful, and they don't mind saying you're less beautiful because they're under social pressure to not say that you're equally beautiful to other women. By the way, they don't stand up to social pressure as well as black men do from each other. I've noticed this. The men don't do that. The other thing is you'll use celebrities as examples. You forget that Arab men don't stand up to social pressure from other men as well as we black men do. I just told you about it, and many of you have seen it, but you tend to forget that. Why don't you go for the Pakistani man then? I know some of them who went to HBCUs, and they didn't marry black women at all, no matter how much her parents had. I know an Arab man that went to a HBCU in the South. He got married, and he got married to a white Arab woman. He was not about to marry no sister. Rihanna is dating a Saudi for a reason. Because they're dating. He can justify it because she's famous and they're just dating, they're not married. Now, he can justify that to one particular crowd. There's the religious crowd too. He can't justify dating, period, but he wouldn't have to justify marrying her. Actually, he would have to justify marrying her for religious reasons, nothing to do with race if he was really hanging around the religious crowd, but he's not. Even still, best believe that he's under pressure to sleep with her and not marry her from someone, and frankly, even a Wyatt woman could fall into that. I actually know a Wyatt Hispanic woman from Miami. Bitter as all get out because what she wants to get is that rich Arab man, Gulf Arab. She keeps trying to get that particular type. And the thing is, they keep playing her. But anyway, Janet Jackson is also an anomaly. She got married, left, and he wants her back. But then again, I mean, look, he has to pay. Look how much he had to pay to lose her. Divestors are looking at a few celebrities and thinking they can do what they see on screen. No, the F you can't in many cases. None of us, men or women, Wyatt or Shine, can do what they do as easily. R. Kelly got to lie on a court document about Aaliyah's age to marry her too soon. You or I would get caught and go under a jail if we even asked how to do it. Simply put, it's still the one-sidedness and dishonesty that really drives black men away, not the fact that sisters want something else. We've been seeing for generations that sisters will marry a non-black man, tell the world that he's got a smaller Johnson. We're not saying that, they are, and still do for him more than she'd ever do for a Shine. We're desensitized to that nowadays. I'm the one who's still bitter about it, and I was willing to overlook sisters doing it to me, treating me like less when I was told that it was because I wasn't black enough. But how can Boom Shika and Bonquisha and Sophista Ratchet Sapphire justify doing this to black men who are more than black enough? That lying, that acting like the reproductive control wasn't always in sisters' hands, that dodging of accountability is what gets to us men. This is exactly how it was that Boom Chic and Bonquisha and Sapphire drove us away to begin with. It's that damn lying. To make matters worse, there are too many men ready to believe these lies. Then on top of that, repeat the lies to us with full conviction in their truth. Fact is, you can say what you want about the image of the black Western man abroad. When people meet us, 'cause I've been that, when they meet us, they really give us more of a chance than most sisters ever do. And understand, you can say, well, you said you're MLS, they don't know you're black. Yeah, I don't let them not know it for long. Now I've confessed. Now what? You know what? The answer is, they give us more of a chance as friends or romantically and maritally than what sisters have ever given us. Divesters, divest. Fine. Quit talking about it. Get your little cameras and start proving it. Understand that the Wyatts you're getting are still learning from us anyway, and when they realize you lowered your standards to be with them because you wanted to get back at us, they won't be flattered. They'll be on flights with us to Southeast Asia or Latin America, asking us how much of the year we spend abroad. They'll be on flights back to the States, crying along with us shines too. We know because some of them already are. You done already drove some of your Wyatts away, past tense. Good luck not screwing it up with the others that are left. Because the non-black men outside of the West who do like you will pass you by because they can't stand up to the social pressure that they would get from other men of their own background if they're asked why they validated and chose you the way you want them. Thank you, audience, for listening. Black heart, black mind, black out, and as you know, black heterosexual, non-select, male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.